Leader of the National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada. Thank you. Our President and CEO, Mr. Thomas Saras.
Well, today I'm serving. I'm not president and I'm not CEO. I spend all my day just delivering, the delivery boy, Madam Premier. If you need someone,
I know who to call.
yeah, thank you. I want to thank you all. I was expecting 300 people and thankfully we are 400. The problem is where to put you there are no chairs. But thank you very much. This is a great event, and just to make sure that we understand all of us, each other. This is a professional organization, has to do nothing with religion. With respect to every religion, I want to know, as you know very well, 5 years ago we adopted a motion that no religious lectures or religious exchanges inside the business of the organization. Unfortunately, today one member called me and she insisted to bring some persons that are related with a religious cult. And I told her no. There is no way that we can do that. This is not Christmas, this is not for Islam, this is not for Hindi, this is for humanity. We are brotherhood of people from all over the world, and we have one thing in common: how to keep informed our communities and how to keep happy our communities and how to make sure that justice and equality prevails to our communities as well. So I make this short statement because I want to clear. I had nothing against anybody. I want to make sure that everybody is happy. But no, please, no religious talks inside here. Thank you very, very much. Maria.
Saras. Next, it's my honor to welcome a very good friend of ours, someone we know very well, the Honorable Laura Albanese, Minister of Citizenship and Immigration.
Well, thank you for the kind introduction and good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be once again with you. I'm among friends, and I'm very pleased to be here with the Premier. It's a pleasure to join you, Premier, amongst 400 people. This is incredible, incredible. So thank you, Thomas, for bringing us all together, and as you said, it's for humanity. That's what we're here to really enjoy together what Ontario, what Canada means. We are a country and a province made up from people that come from every corner of the world. And you have a very important task. You play a very important role in our multilingual, multicultural society, that of informing your communities. And without you, you are the voice. of all the communities that you represent, of each and every community. And without you, they would not get the information. It would not be inclusive as it is with understanding. It's important that the stories that you tell reflect the voice of the community within our Canadian and our society as a province. So thank you very much for the work that you do every day. I know that work well. Not all of you will know, but before this career, I was a part of your family, so I'm still part of your family in many ways. I worked in multicultural, multilingual media for over 20 years, so not just one day. So I had to pay my dues in that world as well. Today I'm very privileged to be here before you as the Ontario Minister of Citizenship and Immigration. And during this year, I want to say that our ministry has been busy. I want to tell you that because I know that you serve a lot of newcomers communities, and so I want to inform you very briefly about what I've been busy doing. First of all, we were able to sign a Canada-Ontario immigration agreement with the federal government. Ontario had been without a formal agreement since 2011. And so this is an important milestone because now we have a better cooperation, bilateral cooperation, and we know what to expect for newcomer programs, and we can better coordinate that. We can share information and avoid duplication. It is better when we work together. So that's one of the big achievements that my ministry did this year. Second, we launched 2 new streams under the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program to welcome more skilled workers that are needed here in Ontario. And thirdly, we launched a very popular multicultural community capacity grant. And many of you would have spoken about that in your publications, in your radio shows, TV shows. It's a program that allows organizations, not-for-profits, and even organizations that are not formally incorporated to receive modest amounts of grants, but to foster social cohesion. So that's so important in our community. And I know that with the first tranche of this grant, we were able to deliver some much appreciated funding to 465 different organizations from all different cultural backgrounds. And now I want to inform you that the second call for proposals has already been launched, and the deadline is on January 23rd. So if you wish to inform your multiple senior organizations, youth organizations, women organizations, they can do that. And all the information is on our website at the ministry. But we've been busy as a government and as a province with the Premier in many other endeavors, many other initiatives trying to bring really fairness and opportunity to Ontario. And I know that the Premier will be talking about that.
Ontario, Kathleen Wynne.
Thank you so much, and it's a great pleasure to be here. And I want to just thank Thomas and his team for all that you do, Thomas. Of course, who says no to Thomas? No one says no to Thomas. So it's great. It's great that you're all here, but I know you're here because Thomas has set this up, and Thomas has been such a strong advocate on the National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada for so long, and we're very grateful to you. So thank you, Thomas, for that. And I want to thank Laura, and I want you to know that Laura is your advocate because she understands what you do. She has been part of, as she said, your family. She understands what you do. And so at the cabinet table, when we are having discussions, and we had one very recently about your favorite subject, government advertising, and Laura was very, very clear that we have more work to do to make sure that it is distributed fairly. And I want you to know that Laura is leading that, and she is working with our staff to figure out if there's something that we can do that can be more equitable. So thank you, Laura, for that, and just want you to know that she is advocating for you. I don't know what the answer is, but we'll get there. So I want to, as Laura did, I want to thank you for what you do. It's extremely important. It's extremely important that we have your media in place to bring the voices of all of the different people from so many corners. And as Laura said, apart from Indigenous people, we all came from somewhere else. Every single one of us came from somewhere else, from another country, from another place, to build a different kind of society. You know, we may have come because of poverty in the 1800s. We may have come because of political unrest in the 1970s. We may have come recently because we are leaving a war-torn or a politically tumultuous place. But whatever the reason, we came here to build a different society that was more compassionate, that was fairer, that would provide more opportunity for us and our children and our grandchildren. And so that's what you are helping to build. And you've got over 750 outlets in over 100 languages. And by having that infrastructure in place, you reach hundreds of thousands of people, many who are new to Canada, and they are finding their way, and they need you to help them to find their way in this new country. Coming to a new country can be an overwhelming experience and an isolating experience, and you know that better than most. But when newcomers step off the plane or arrive on our shores here in Ontario, you are there to catch them and to make them feel like they have the ability to be understood in this new country. And you tell their stories in the languages that they speak. And most importantly, you make sure that they know that they belong, that they are part of the fabric of our society in this province. You know, I know many of you have heard me say that diversity is our strength, and that is something that politicians say. I truly believe it. And I believe it because I believe that especially in the world today where the internet and communication travels so quickly, it is even more important today to understand each other, to understand how differences can be bridged than it was 100 years ago when news traveled much more slowly. We weren't confronted with differences. Our societies were much more homogenous wherever we lived, except maybe, you know, in some parts of the world that were diverse before Canada got there. But the fact is that right now in the world, it is very, very important that we understand each other because there are so many opportunities for conflict and misunderstanding because of the way information travels that we need to make sure that we, as a model in this country and in this province and in this city, that we find ways to bridge those differences. And so that makes us strong. And I'm very convinced that diversity needs to be reflected in our governing bodies. And so my team, which is a diverse team, I think over a third of my team was born outside of Canada, and they reflect the population of this province and this country. We can do better, but we've made a good start. And so, as Laura said, we've been working on making this province even fairer. You know, how can we find ways to level the playing field? I got into politics because I believe that fundamentally there's unfairness built into the world. You know, kids come into the world with different advantages. They live in communities with different advantages, and they need all of us who are in decision-making roles and in communities to find ways to make the road more fair for them so that everybody has opportunity. And I think that's what government exists to do. I think government exists to actually level the playing field. And I got involved through publicly funded education because I believe that education is actually the most important leveler. Having a public education system that accepts everyone, that gives everyone an equal access to great teachers and great resources, I think is fundamental to fairness. But there is more that we can do. And so, you know, when the minimum wage increases on January 1st, millions of people are going to wake up in a different province. In an Ontario where their hard work actually means a fair wage and means they're going to be able to look after their kids and look after themselves. And on January 1st, for the first time ever, every parent with a sick child is going to be able to go to the pharmacy, show their OHIP card, and be handed the medications that they need without paying a cent. So these are big landmark changes for our province that are coming in on January 1st. And we can do these things now because the economy is doing very well. Some people have said to me, well, Kathleen, why didn't you do it in 2014 when you were first in the Premier's office? Because we were still digging out of the economic downturn. But now we're seeing corporate profits at record highs. The unemployment rate is the lowest that it's been in 17 years. So we are doing well. Our GDP growth is outstripping the G7 countries. It's outstripping the United States. It's outstripping Canada. So it is our responsibility now to do what we can to ease people's lives. And these are our values, and it's not good enough just to talk about our values. We have to act on them. We have to walk the talk. And so the stories that you've all brought us this year show how necessary this plan is, our plan is, in this challenging economic period. It's a period of uncertainty. So even though Ontario's doing well and Canada's doing well, not everybody's feeling that. Not everybody is feeling the benefit of that economic growth. And so it is at this moment that we need to step up. And, you know, parents who are worried about what jobs their kids are going to have, whether they're going to be able to afford post-secondary education, that's what free tuition is about. You know, it's about giving kids access to post-secondary, whether their parents are wealthy or not. And so I believe that there is a lot more that we can continue to do, but you are our partners in this. And I want to just, again, say thank you. 2018 will be a great new year, but in so many ways it'll be a new Ontario too. So if we look at, as I've talked about, the minimum wage, the childcare spaces that we're building, pharmacare for youth, free tuition, the world is changing. And that's why we're putting this plan in place, because we believe that we have to change with that economic transition. So we're making sure that no matter what direction the global economy goes in, we have stability here. And I'll just end by saying that I've been doing a lot of traveling in the United States. And I'm there because our number one trading partner is the United States. And yes, I was in China and I was in Vietnam, and I have been in many parts of the globe looking for new markets for Ontario and making agreements and bringing home jobs and economic activity. But still, the United States is our number one trading partner. And I believe that we can do better than many of the jurisdictions in the United States. I believe that we can have a fairer society than many of the places in the United States. And I believe that we can avoid some of the divisive, angry politics that has happened in the United States by looking after each other better. I truly believe that that is the antidote. And so I look forward to working with you over the next year. And again, thank you so very much for all that you do. Merci beaucoup. And I have Thomas and Mary and the team. If you want to come up, I have a certificate on the occasion of the Canada 150 Gala celebration, the National Ethnic Press and Media Council. Greetings from me as the Premier of Ontario on behalf of our government. Okay? Where's Thomas? There he is. Christmas. You stand in the middle.
Okay, right there.
No.
Okay? Well. Thank you.
Jacques Verbidian, Stanislav Milashenko, Kathy Lynn, who I know is in the front, and Mr. Bangalore Nagaraju. So if you guys wouldn't mind just waiting up here, and we'll just make it quick and beautiful.
One at a time.
Yeah, we'll do one at a time. But our first one is going to our friend, the Honorable Laura Albanese.
Okay, Laura.
Minister.
I always take advantage of what I have.
Where's Laura?
Excellent. Next is the Honorable Alvin Curling.
John.
Next, Francis Del Sol. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Francis is doing amazing work trying to rebuild beautiful Dominica after the hurricane ravished Dominica. We'll be hearing from her later. Thank you. Kamran Amadi. Kamran, a very talented artist. We've seen his paintings many times. Arif Ahmed. Arif Ahmed. Excellent.
Bangladesh community, yeah, everybody here.
Awesome.
Bangladesh community, yeah.
All right, everyone's friend, Mr. Jacques Barbidian.
Thank you.
Where is Jacques?
Okay, merci beaucoup. Stanislav Milashenko.
Okay, guys.
Congratulations. Kathy Lynn, the Chinese Canadian Times. Lisa Qureshi, are you up here? Lisa, are you up? Where's Lisa? Okay. Mr. Bangalore Nagaraju. No? Okay.
She's not here.
Lisa Qureshi, are you here? Come on up, Lisa. Canadan Sanomat. Yay, the finish good! Yay!
Thank you so much. Thank you. Here.
Wonderful. We're done. Thank you, Madam Premier.
How about that subway that opened this morning? Oh, hey, you can ride it on Sunday. Have a great holiday season, everyone.
Thank you. No, we're going to do more awards. Someone here needs to start.
Were they there?
Eugenia Bachanal? Oh, there she is. Okay. Oh, just one moment, Eugenia.
Excuse me, just my friend.
Mr. Jatin Naik?
Yeah, this is good.
Mr. Shankar Nalathambe?
It's okay.
Mi mejor amiga, señora Susana Donan. Mr. Shahidul Islam Bintu. The representative for Mr. Mohammed Faki. No, he's, we're doing him first, and then we're doing Mr. Jamshi Tajdallah. He's right there.
That's the best. Thank you. Where is your camera? Okay.
when Mayor Tory is here with us later. Thank you very much.
In making the ethnic communities integrate much faster, much smoother to our society. And believe me, we are proud, all of you, because many of you have achieved many successes in your lives. And this is the country where, regardless of what your dreams are, when you come to this country, you will be able to achieve them. This country is the country where it's up to you to make it. And wherever you come, from which shore you arrive to our land, you will be able to succeed. It's all up to you. If you don't succeed, don't blame Canada, blame yourself. So it is my great pleasure once again to read my party and my leader's congratulation message to you. But before I read his message, I just wanted to mention one thing, that on October 25th, we released our platform, our policy for the next provincial election. And I am quite happy to say that it is a policy, a platform where all the experts and the media and the public received it very well, because it is a platform dedicated to all of us, to the common people, because the middle class are getting squeezed out because of various failed policies. So we need to re-energize the middle class, and that's why our platform has been dedicated mostly towards the middle class. And most importantly, realizing that traffic and congestion is a huge problem in Ontario and Toronto especially. Our party is going to dedicate $5 billion for transit in Ontario and especially in Toronto. This is dedicated $5 billion to Toronto to solve the congestion problem. This money will be dedicated to make the loop, the Eglinton to Scarborough Town Centre, and the Shepherd extension of the Shepherd subway line to the Scarborough Town Centre. That way we will complete the loop for Scarborough, and this is one of the major promises that we are going to implement once we form the government. So, my party leader statement reads: congratulations to the National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada on the occasion of their annual get-together Christmas party. Ethnic media serves a vital role for their respective communities. My commendations to them for their efforts in helping promote a vibrant and multicultural Ontario. Best wishes for continued success. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, December 15. Patrick Brown, leader of the official opposition. Thank you.
And you charge me too much.
He says we charge too much, but I will only tell you that if we charged on a per hour basis, we'd be charging very little, because the man gets to City Hall. I get to my desk at 6:30 in the morning, and I think Thomas is already there. And when I leave, sometimes 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, he's still there. So this is the hardest working man in journalism. But I just want to thank him for all of his hard work and effort that he puts into keeping this association alive and dynamic. If I had to guess, I think there are more people here this year than I've seen in some of the many prior years that I've been here. But it is so important, as you've heard me say before, and I gather the Premier was here tonight, and I'm sure she said the same, which is that we rely a great deal on the people in this room, not all of whom are in the media business, but they're all people who are very important to our ability to communicate with each other in this city. And I've said many times, even just this week, I was at a celebration of Hanukkah last night with the Jewish community, and the fact that we find ways to celebrate each other's occasions, to communicate with each other about what those occasions are about, and generally to learn about each other, and to not allow our differences ever to come between us, but to become something that we find interesting and we want to learn more about and so on, is fundamentally important to the success of this city. as I travel around different parts of the world representing Toronto and trying to convince smart people to come here, to live and to invest and create jobs, I realize that people don't know very much about Toronto, really, in terms of the size of the city. They're often surprised to hear how big it is and how big our business community is and so on. What they do know something about, interestingly enough, is how we live together here. And they know that we seem to have found a way, not perfectly, but we found a way to show respect for each other, to embrace each other, as opposed to viewing differences that we have as any kind of a source of frustration or fear. That we view it as an interesting challenge to get to know more about each other when we have different faiths or different nationalities or different skin colors or different sexual orientations. We do that, and as a result, we have a city that is built on respect, that is built on embracing each other, and I think that is so important to maintain that going forward. And I'll come back to where I started. All of you in this room are so important to that quality of our life here in this city that people recognize elsewhere, because all of you contribute, especially those in the media. I've said before that when we go to a music concert or to a sports event, we could have 5 people standing in the front row of the concert or the sports event who don't speak the same language. None of them speak the same language. Each 5 speak a different language. But what brings them together is music, is sports, is living together in a great city. And sometimes that barrier in terms of communicating with each other is broken down by a lot of the different organizations that you represent. And that's very important. It's important that people find things they can enjoy together without talking, but it's also important that they have ways in which they can communicate with each other and with the city. And so I just thank Thomas again for his efforts in bringing you together. He is someone who does this week after week, month after month. There's hardly a month goes by that something isn't happening in the City Hall that is sponsored by this association and that is so well supported by its membership. And I thank you for that. I wish you, oh, is that Alvin Curling? Oh my goodness gracious. One of my heroes, Alvin Curling, is here tonight. Now I didn't say that about him when I was the opposition leader and he was sitting over on the Liberal benches, but I'm now a non-partisan statesman, so as a result I can tell you that Alvin Curling is one of my heroes, and he's helped a lot to again build those bridges around this city. But I say thank you to you. I wish you a happy holiday. For those who celebrate as I do Christmas, I wish you a Merry Christmas, and I wish you, most importantly of all, a happy and healthy and harmonious 2018 in this great city where people are watching us. People are watching us from around the world to make sure that the model that we have set out, that is one that does embrace people and always remembers that open hearts and open minds and open arms are a characteristic of the way we live, that we will continue to do that in 2018 and continue to be a place that is admired around the world. Thank you very much.
Mayor Tory, Your Worship, if you wouldn't mind just a couple more minutes. We have a few more awards that we will be presenting tonight. I'm going to call up Mr. Saeed Rage. Saeed here? Okay, so Mr. Michael Holmes will be taking the award on his behalf. Miss Sharmila Sindaralingam. Sharmila?
Sharmila.
Don't be shy, Sharmila, we're waiting for you. Okay. We'll get back to Sharmila. Mr. Mohammed Bagger Samimi. There he is. Next, we're going to call up Mr. Kiruba Kirushan. He's the CEO of Easy 24 News. Oh, one more moment. Thank you. Puyan, I know you're at the back of the room, so I'm going to call your name now. Mr. Puyan Tabatabe, Editor-in-Chief of Teacher Mag.
Puyan.
Puyan's right here.
Oh, he's here.
Puyan's right here, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sounds great.
Forward po yan.
Yay, Puyat!
Thank you very much.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, our organization works because of the hard work of the next few people that we'll be calling up. Thomas gets all the glory, but it's because of these guys that we are a well-oiled machine. Mr. Neil Nanda, our Secretary General, Mr. Shrimal Abeyewardene, Shrimal, our fabulous treasurer, come on, Shrimal. He's going to sign some checks.
He's here, but
He's coming. No, we need to.
Old man.
Since I have everyone's attention, speaking about drinking, we're drinking tonight. You're going to do it responsibly. Okay? No drinking and driving. If you guys feel uncomfortable, come to me. I'll get you a cab.
There we are.
Oh boy.
Man with the money.
Next up is Mr. Ricky Castelvi. Ricky?
Goodbye.
How are you?
Ricky! Thomas,
Stand out.
and our event planner extraordinaire, Daniela Spirlak.
Right back here doing the work as usual.
And finally, our famed photographer and the man that keeps our website running, Mr. John Saradaris.
Hey John, how you doing? Congratulations. Middle. John's okay, no problem.
Okay.
For that, I had the most amazing honor. Michelle Obama was here, and I, Country Bumpkin Nadine, had the honor of opening for Mrs. Obama. I stalk my mail daily because I got a response from her office, the office of Barack and Michelle Obama. They asked for my mailing address. So y'all are gonna rub your hands with me. Christmas a come, me want me lama. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm gonna share with you guys the poem, The Immigrant Child. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a background. I used to call it Sacrifices of the Dream. Someone corrected me the other day. They said, Nadine, sacrifices, it has a negative connotation. What it is investment. So I've changed sacrifices to investment. So I've invested in this dream, and now I will shut up and share The Immigrant Child. I am the immigrant child, born and bred on the fingers of bananas, backs of chickens, heads of goats, tails of pigs, livers, tripes, and kidneys of cows. The immigrant child whose forefathers hoarded their monies to ensure that on September mornings there would be no bawling, since I, like the rest, could stand with the best and big up my chest and proudly tell the teachers good morning. Yes, I am the immigrant child, whose very large family shared 2 bedrooms and 1 veranda, who fumbled with bottle torches at nights to find the toilets. And though I may reside in 4 and 5 bedroom houses with en-suites attached, you know, there was a time when I had roofs, that were thatched and patched to keep the waters at bay. Hey, hear me when I say, I am the immigrant child who has embarked upon a land of promise, a land foretold many years ago, a land where milk and honey flows. The immigrant child whose migration and subsequent integration has made me a proud Canadian, entitled to all that the shores of Nova Scotia, Manitoba, British Columbia, Newfoundland and Labrador has in store. As much sap as my tongue can lap from the bark of the maple trees, while mastering as many degrees as my tuition fees deems feasible. I am the immigrant child, destined to fulfill the goodwill of those that sent me, those who themselves knew not this land of promise. I am the immigrant child, whose rich heritage oozes from my pores as I try to ensure that the doors of these great memories are open wide to impart a sense of humility and pride while being a guide to this generation and the generations after that. I am the immigrant child, born and bred on the fingers of bananas, backs of chickens, heads of goats, tails of pigs, livers, tripes, and kidneys of cows. And I am the immigrant child who will die humbly holding dear the heart of the breadfruit, the immigrant child. Thank you.
Hey, hey.
Tell me quando, will you show me please don't make me wait again. Please don't make me wait again. Please don't make me wait again. Yeah, chick, 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 chick. they say you are wrong, but my eyes will see only you that made you to me. When you say I can hear the sounds of violence. Love you for peace. Everything is sway, sway, sway. Oh yeah, whoa. Swing it now. Dancing maybe on the floor. Yeah, but my eyes will see only you need you to be. When it's like I believe, I can hear the sounds of violence. Longing for peace. Make me realize all evil. Sway me smooth, sway me now. When my rhythm starts to move, dance with me, make me sway. Like the lazy ocean at the shore. Hold me down, sway me now. Like the flowers bend in the breeze, bend, sway me. When we dance together, stay with me. When my river starts to rain, you hold me close and make me swim. Like you lazy ocean at the shore. Hold me close, swim like the rock and the breeze. And swim like the clouds and the breeze. Stay with me, swim. Everything in a better place. Something about your body says, come to me. Keep me and then I can't stop. While I know, it's a perfect bad I never go. Show me what to do. People tell me what to do. They know that they ain't gonna lose. I can make them wrong. I can make them wrong. Girl, I like the baby boy. Gotta show me what to do. People tell me what to do. Now that they ain't gonna lose. I can make them wrong. I can make them wrong. I'm on the big auntie. I'm a big auntie. I'm a dance auntie. Auntie, yeah, this auntie. I'm on the big auntie, and the dance auntie, yeah, this auntie, oh, I look at you and it feels like a paradise. You got the spirit, got the music, got the heat, got the dance. I need you now, I need you closer. Keep me thinking, baby, the night.